Look, I know you're mad, but let's try to have fun too, and I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Have fun, you say, Mark? This guy really can't read the room, can he? If Mark's expecting fun, well, he's in for a nasty surprise.
I hope you don't think it's my fault.
Kind of. Like, my dad wouldn't have a baby if he was with someone who is his own age.
I think now you don't come to my wedding.
So you don't want me to come to my dad's wedding?
Yes.
So, that's fine.
Fun times with the family. But, Mark, for as oblivious as you might want to act, let's not pretend like you didn't play a large role in creating this friction.
They've been talking for a while, man. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Now, before we dive into the awkwardness, the arguing, and the clash between the two most important women in Mark's life, let's rewind to the start. So, the last time we saw Mark and Mina, they were having a picnic, and Mina promised Mark, let me repeat that, she promised Mark that she was going to try to get along with Jordan. And when we catch up with them in this episode, we learn a meeting has been set.
Mina and I and Maria are taking a trip down to Bald Head Island, North Carolina to spend some time around family.
Mark tells us he's hoping for a big, happy family reunion. My brother lives there and so do my parents, he says. But more importantly, my daughter and her boyfriend are also flying in to spend time with us. I want Mina and Jordan to spend some time together, get to know each other, to bond in a relaxed atmosphere, he says. Now, on paper, you might think that this sounds like a good idea. But from the second that they touch down, things begin to go wrong.
You take Maria with you?
She's still in I thought you were getting Maria.
Great parent.
Yeah. At least we didn't drive off.
Now, they both see the humour in the situation. They laugh it off, and let's give them a break. Maybe they had another late night last night.
Yeah, we had some good sex last night. Right?
Your mommy wants you.
But the thing is, when they collect little Maria and when they take to the road, Mina's nerves become apparent. You see, now that she knows Jordan doesn't like her, now that she knows Jordan is actively interfering in her relationship and trying to convince her dad not to have any more kids, Mina's worries, her fears about seeing Jordan again, begin to rise. And the thing is, what Mark says to her next doesn't exactly help matters.
I effed up. I shouldn't have said anything to you or to Jordan. Well, I told her about the jacuzzi when we were...
What?
Mark knows he's f***ed up here. Like, what he's done doesn't really make sense, does it? If his aim is to try and broker a peace between Mina and Jordan, if he wants them to get along, what he shouldn't be doing is stoking up the flames of the fire. He should have played the whole thing down, and what he certainly shouldn't have done is turn to Jordan to essentially complain about Mina.
I completely regret really relaying anything either one said. I should have just kept quiet and let them two interact with each other.
Yeah, he's right. He's achieved nothing by doing that. In fact, he's shot himself in the foot. Mina now feels like he can't be trusted. He can't keep their private conversations private. And Jordan is now also coming into this meeting with the wrong mindset. She's coming in there thinking, knowing that Mina hates her. Like, that's undoubtedly going to negatively affect all the relationships he doesn't want to be affected, isn't it? Mina and his relationship, as well as Mina and Jordan's.
Why you talk with Jordan anytime? She sleep with you and me too?
No.
Now I'm very mad because I'm not comfortable.
I don't think that Mina's asking for too much here. Like, all she wants is to keep certain conversations private between them. If Mark turns out to be the kind of guy that shares every little private detail with his daughter, that's not only going to cause more tension between them, but it's also going to cause Mina to reassess what she shares with the man that's meant to be her future husband. Like, it's early days, right? But we are seeing a pattern here. Mark does seem to be quite an impulsive guy. He does seem to be the kind of guy that acts without really thinking through the consequences.
I'm gonna shut my mouth. Stop.
Yeah, it's better.
Now, after an awkward rest of their journey, the trio finally reach their hotel, and they immediately begin getting ready, preparing to meet Jordan and her boyfriend. But from the sounds of things, from everything that's just happened, Mina is now in the wrong headspace. You see, she begins to hype herself up. It's as if she feels at this point a fight is inevitable, it's unavoidable.
Comme Jordan, il est fâché, j'ai donné une bonne raison, je vais m'habiller très sexy.
Are you gonna get sexy and make Jordan
Yeah.
even?
That's quite a weird thing to say, isn't it? What, she's actively trying to compete with her stepdaughter, make her angrier somehow by looking sexier than her? I don't know, like it's a weird family dynamic that's going on here. Now, Mark just laughs it off. He says, Jordan's not going to be angry if you look sexier than her, but she will be angry if we have a repeat of what happened in Paris. Remember, we were told that in Paris, Mina showed up to Maria's baptism very late, hours late, and that is one of the reasons that Jordan feels disrespected by Mina. Please, let's not be late, Mark begs her. But when they do eventually make it out of their room and get to the beach meeting point, Jordan is already there waiting for them, and she's not happy.
Of course, she's late.
Now, the pair do greet each other, they do hug, but it's very frosty to say the least.
So crazy. I still can't believe that you have a baby.
I know. Maria.
Definitely wasn't expecting to have another sibling, so.
I know.
Tell me if this is just me, right? But was Jordan's reaction towards baby Maria a little bit cold there too? Whatever it is she thinks of Mina, baby Maria is her little sister. That's her baby sister that she hasn't seen since Maria was only a couple of months old. Now, in fairness to her, she does say that baby Maria is cute. But then she says what everyone's thinking. This doesn't feel normal. This feels super awkward.
This is not me and you's normal, you know?
No.
Normally we're...
But it's not going to be anymore because the whole dynamic's different now with them here. This is like your new family now, and I'm not.
Now, on the one hand, I do feel for Jordan. We've been told that she and her dad have always been really, really close. So the whole dynamic here is probably the first time she's experiencing something like this. It's the first time she's feeling left out by her dad. But, on the other hand, I can't shake the feeling that Jordan sounds kind of bratty. She's giving off the kind of vibe that she's almost jealous of baby Maria. She's out to make her dad feel bad for the fact that he has a separate life, one that revolves around Maria now and not Jordan. Now, Jordan goes on to say that seeing her dad with a baby is strange and awkward. And while you might be forgiven for thinking that this is what triggers Mina, actually it's not. She remains remarkably calm.
I hope he don't think it's my fault.
Kind of. Like, my dad wouldn't have a baby if he was with someone who was his own age.
That right there was the perfect opportunity for Jordan to calm things down. Even if deep down that's what she thinks, she could have chosen to be amicable. She could have said the truth that it takes two people to make a baby. No one party is at fault, quote unquote. Like the way Jordan has come in here all guns blazing, the way she's acting as if she's her dad's spokesman, the whole I know my dad and he'd never do that kind of attitude that she's adopted, isn't right. It's not conducive to making up at all. She's just admitted that not only does she not want them to have another baby, she's also bitter about the existence of Maria. I couldn't believe it when I learnt that you were pregnant, she says. I knew you were engaged, but how could my dad have a baby without speaking to me first?
I don't think I have to ask permission to have another kid.
Mark does briefly, very briefly, try to stand up to Jordan. He tries to explain that this was both of their decision to have a baby. But when Jordan repeats the fact that she was shocked when they had Maria, Mark backs down. He clearly doesn't want to fall out with her. And now Mina is left alone. She's been left to fight this battle solo.
It's my decision. It's my body. I don't understand.
This isn't what I would have envisioned or wanted for our family.
This isn't what I envisaged or wanted for our family. Honestly, who does she think she is? She's acting as if she has the right to decide what her dad does or doesn't do. She really is giving princess vibes here, isn't she? Like, I'm sorry, Jordan, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you don't get to decide what your dad's life is going to be like. He's his own independent person. Now, given that Mark has gone silent, right, given that he's not contributing anything to this conversation, Mina now asks to speak to Jordan alone. She wants to woman air all of their issues and try and get over them.
I talk with Mark. He tell me, you're mad for the Paris because I take a long time and you never tell me I don't like this, I don't like this.
Why didn't you just speak to me directly if you had a problem, Mina wants to know. We could have figured this out instead of you talking behind my back. Now, Jordan's response to that is we don't have that kind of relationship. We don't have a relationship where we can talk to each other. But now that you bring it up, if you must know the truth, I wasn't happy in Paris because I felt left out.
And we flew all the way to be there for you guys. It just would have been nice to feel included. Like you and my dad say, oh, we're a big family now, but it doesn't feel that way.
I keep swinging between, on the one hand, feeling sorry for Jordan, but on the other hand, feeling like she's being unreasonable. Look, I get that this is a big change for her. I understand that she feels like she's losing her dad, and that's difficult for her. But the fact is, Mina isn't solely to blame if she feels like that. That is on Mark too. Sure, she might not have been comfortable talking to Mina when she was in Paris, but she could have spoken to her dad. She seems to talk to him about everything else. Like, what doesn't make sense is, why is all of Jordan's blame directed only at Mina? Now, it's at this point that Jordan turns the conversation back to her biggest issue. Do you want more children? She asks.
Not for now, maybe in 2 years.
Okay. Like, maybe I want to have kids in 2 years. What, they're going to be the same age? It's just, that's so weird.
So let me get this right. What you're saying here is because you maybe want a child in a couple of years' time, Mark and Mina aren't allowed to have one. Sorry, Jordan, but no one can make that kind of choice for another person. I understand she wants to protect her dad, right? I get that. But he's a grown-ass man who can make his own decisions. And what's more, he already has a family with this woman. Why would adding another baby be such a big deal for her? Well, clearly, she feels like she has the right to make that decision. She clearly feels like she has the right to speak on behalf of her dad. If that's what you want, she says to Mina, if you want another child, you should marry someone else. You shouldn't be with my dad.
It's like common sense that if you want a big family and you want to have more babies, that you would pick someone who's younger who can do that, because he's my dad. His kids are in their 20s. Like,
I'd agree with Jordan if, and it's a very big if, her dad also felt the same way. Whether she likes it or not, with or without her approval, if Mark and Mina both want to have more kids, then they will. Jordan has no say in that, and that's what bothers her so much. Like, what's becoming more and more obvious here is that this isn't just about Jordan looking out for her dad. This has become a power play. Jordan's big issue with Mina is that this woman has come into their lives and now has control over Mark. She has a level of control that it seems like Jordan was used to having, and that worries her. How can I be sure you're in this with the right intentions? She asks Mina.
you're coming into my family and having babies and coming to the US and you're so much younger. Like, how do I know you're not just with my dad for his money?
Is that a legitimate fear to have? Yeah, of course it is. You'd be naive not to think about that. But the big issue here is that Jordan seems to have made her mind up without even getting to know Mina. Now, up until this point, Mina had remained relatively calm in the face of Jordan's questions. But this was the last straw. You, she says to Jordan, are a snake. You're a snake that's out to cause trouble, and I don't want you at my wedding.
I think now you don't come into my wedding.
So you don't want me to come to my dad's wedding?
Yes.
So, that's fine.
Now, Now, for as aggravated as Mina is, and there's definitely an argument to be had that she's right to be annoyed, Mina doesn't have the right to do that. She doesn't have the right, just as Jordan doesn't have the right, she also doesn't have the right to make that kind of decision without consulting Mark. What is it I said? Both of these women are clashing over control. Both seem to want to have the right to speak on Mark's behalf. Let's not forget, Mark expressly told Mina in the last episode, Jordan is coming to their wedding. Mina knows his stance, knows that that's a non-negotiable, but she's ignoring him, ignoring his wishes, and flexing her muscle in order to spite Jordan. Yeah, any hopes that these two might be able to bury the hatchet and get along has now gone up in flames.